Hello everyone, my name is Garrett Summer, and my vision argument I created here today goes after my research paper that I made, which was on the world's safest energy source, which is nuclear energy. Now, in my research paper, I went over the benefits of nuclear energy over fossil fuels, solar power, wind power, and hydropower. Some of the main points I went over was that nuclear energy has less overall emissions, its operating size is far smaller than those other energy sources, and it has more efficient energy production. Later on, I also went through the previous nuclear disasters that are often brought up, which introduces my audience that I went over. Now, the media with nuclear energy heavily focuses on the two main previous nuclear disasters we had, being Chernobyl and Fukushima. There's been shows about them, a couple popular ones like Chernobyl on HBO. And so the younger generation, being heavily influenced by the media and being surrounded by it, often flock to these two things, thinking immediately that nuclear energy is a very unsafe form of energy and that we should be void of using it just due to those things that have happened previously. But the truth is that nuclear energy has improved through time with new safety measures and tech. And the other truth is that those disasters were primarily related to human error and just faulty equipment and old designs. So nowadays we don't really have to worry about that all that much. So with that being said, this visual I created is split into two parts. I did it very intentionally. So on the left, as you can obviously see, it is the nuclear energy side. At the top, I included a photo of a nuclear power plant surrounded by some nice mountains and a nice bright green and yellow field. And then under that, I included some simple benefits of nuclear energy. And then below that, I included a few more things that are often discussed by the audience, which is the younger generation. And then on the right side, I included fossil fuels. Now, for the sake of this pamphlet that I created here, I'm just focusing on fossil fuels, as solar power, wind power, and hydropower aren't as focused on as much in the media, and it would be just too much to include in a little simple pamphlet like this. I didn't want to make it overwhelming or anything like that. So for the sake of this, I just kept it fossil fuels, as that's what most people are familiar with, especially through the media. So I included a picture of a lot of pollution being released by a fossil fuel plant, and then under that I included just a few negative effects that are very obvious and brought up heavily in the media. Two fossil fuels being the large amounts of emissions, pollution, and global warming, and then I have a chart right under that I'll get to in a second. Now, for the colors and the images I chose on here, on the left side, I made it green, as green is normally a very friendly and inviting color, which will be very inviting to my audience. It also represents the environment in many organizations, and in that case, a healthy environment. So that's why I made the left green, as nuclear energy is very clean for the environment. And then on the right side, I just made the background black to show that fossil fuels are dirty, they're very grim, and they're not good. Black is generally associated with, in this case, just being a dirty and bad thing. And then obviously that photo up there shows a lot of emissions being released into the environment. With that being said, these design choices heavily reflect logos. There is a bit of pathos in here, you could say, with that top right photo. Being very dirty, that it could represent an emotional impact on the audience, but primarily it focuses on logos, as it's the reasoning in here with the points I made are very logical. It's very easy to tell that fossil fuels are bad and nuclear energy is good. It makes a heavy logical appeal, and then right below that, the chart that I added on here is very simple, and it shows the sources of emissions released in the United States. It also shows that electricity is 28%, which is very high. So it also brings a little bit more logic into that. And then towards the end here, I just made a little quote saying, "Make the world a brighter, better place," just to strike a little bit more feel into the audience when they're reading this. So overall, this is what I've created. I think it does a very good job going through logos, making a very logical appeal on why nuclear energy is good versus fossil fuels. It's very appealing to the younger generation, as it's very simple, and I think it just works. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to what I have to say here, and I hope that you agree with my pamphlet as much as I do. Thank you.